We are already live on Facebook and YouTube. Good afternoon, guys. Talal is with us. Let's connect on Instagram now. We're gonna wait for people to gather in the middle of the day. Okay, I'm going live. Wait, 'cause I need to set up the screen. Good. Live on Salsa Festival. So you're gonna watch us Talal there.
Okay, so
Okay, some people, welcome, guys. Feel free to
disconnect the sound from here.
Yes, I'm gonna bring you on. Okay, so now we remember, Salah, we put our computers on silent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we.
Okay.
Yes, I got you on Instagram, and I'm hearing you here. Good.
Perfect.
Katerina saying hello from Brussels. What are you doing there in Brussels? Okay, hopefully you guys are. You can hear us. I've been testing this. Yes, looks great. All right. El Sol is happening this year, and we got one of our international artists, Talal Benlahsen. Is that the right way to pronounce your name?
Well, it's let's say it's the right European way to pronounce it. It's good.
Tell us the real sound.
Benlahsen, so it's like in a strong sound coming from the yeah, exactly. Let's keep it Talal. Talal is enough.
Okay, Talal in the house. Hi, Richie. All right, thank you guys for joining. I wanted to ask Talal how he has been through this pandemic. Tell us about your business model, Talal, how you survived, what happened for you since March.
Well, it was unexpected, and let's say, in shortly speaking, it thanks God when we work with the money reserves. That means we always somehow, whenever actually we gain something in our organization, we always kept something on the side for more investments for the community or for our events, but also if something goes wrong, so that we have something to let's say to make us feel sustainable. So that's why actually thanks to our let's say money reserve, we could somehow let's say stand this pandemic during this 4 or 5 months, but also we had to find some kind of some sort of alternative around July, August, to be able to come back again with some different ideas.
So what was it? What did you do?
So regarding the community, actually, well, thanks God, actually the government could allow us to start our classes in July. That's already a good start. And but class without events, there is something missing. So we had somehow to go for something else. Like, for example, instead of organizing parties, which is not allowed, we started organizing some kind of gatherings, such as retreats, meals, dinners, brunches, meetings, whatever. So somehow to keep, let's say, the community busy, even if we don't practice our passion the same way as before. Yet we
guys, Talal is a very inspiring person as far as his sense for the community spirit, because your business is built on knowing how to be with people, how to provide them what exactly do they need aside from dancing. When you run your groups, when you take them all over the world, it's not just ticket sales.
Because we believe that a person who comes to a salsa class actually deserves more than this 1 hour or 2 hour salsa class. It has to do with something that make him also enjoy this activity and passion a bit more than just coming once or twice a week for a salsa class and then leave. It's not like a regular, I don't know what, language class or painting class that you do once and you go back home and you practice by yourself. But there's something to do with the community, and in order to make people like it more and to get involved more, so we should actually organize things in groups and make people actually, let's say, enjoy being together and gather together so that they can share this together. It's still something that you need to share. You don't do it by yourself.
Oh, Kumasha is saying thank you for putting me on the cover. It was a coincidence. Well, thank you for not making a fuss about us using your face, because that's always tricky. So Talal, you say community spirit, going out and so on, but how were you able to do this with the lockdown? Or was it allowed to go to dinner?
During the first month of the lockdown, there was zero activity. We could do nothing except waiting. And each time we're hoping that things will go better, this week, next month. And then we took everything that the government did as let's say, as a gift. That means when they allowed us to start classes with a fixed partner, for example, in July, so we jumped on the occasion and we didn't wait. So we gave people what they were waiting for, only salsa classes once a week or twice a week. But then little by little, we start like somehow following all the measurements and everything, and we saw what was allowed and not. And according to what was given, we could somehow let's say, find the solution for our people to gather again and to practice and to be together.
We all of us entrepreneurs, we try to sort of move around the rules. In Poland right now, the rules are also a bit unclear. There are certain limits, and then there is which is something that we're exploiting with the El Sol Salsa Festival this year, that there is there needs to be 2.5 square meter per person in a conference setting, and social distancing. Obviously, we cannot socially distance as we're dancing, but then dancing as sports and recreation is allowed. So dance schools are allowed to work, but discotheques are not. So we're trying to make this as a recreation, sports, education event, and then the dancing, the party is sort of a practice part, of that sports and education part. So this is how we're fitting our project into these new rules. Obviously, all these sanitary additions, the hands, and we suggest everybody wears a mask. We suggest you guys get tested before the event. We don't really know what the size of our stall is going to be. We're open to whoever registers because we have huge space. We have 3 floors. If it's a small group, we're going to keep it on 1 floor. If it's a bit bigger group, we're going to move it to 2. And if it's even a bigger group, then we spread through 3 floors. So we're open. We guys are waiting with arms open, and we're hopeful that Warsaw won't get locked down again. So this, as you were saying, we sort of find a way. But this is, Talal, it's not your only business, right? You do other things as well.
Yeah, we have other things that are connected to dancing, which means still in the idea of gathering people together. So we do also like events, smaller events, bigger ones, but also trips that are all related to events, like for example to El Sol or to other bigger or smaller events, but also to cultural trips, because we believe that people, when they go to festivals, of course they can enjoy being in the festivals and spend some time together, but when they go into a cultural trip, they can spend even more time together. We propose maybe some small nights with dancing, yet with smaller groups, people, they can connect even more. So those are one of the side businesses actually that are related to salsa. So of course there are other businesses, but
you have like a tourist office, sort of.
Yes.
Sort of. Yeah. So what are your signature trips, your best trips? Where are they to?
What I mean,
your most famous trips, cultural trips, not dancing.
Well, when it has to do with salsa, of course, we have El Sol, we have Rovin. Those are like the best destination. When it has to do with cultural trips, we have Japan, we have Morocco, we have Poland as well. When it has to do with medical trips, then we have Turkey, we have Hungary, we have Romania. So we have different actually products that we are selling on different levels.
But your Morocco trip is famous, right? The desert and all that. I was able to experience just a little taste of it when we went to Rabat.
Exactly. Yeah, I still remember.
Do you have other businesses in Morocco?
It's also related to cosmetics, and that was actually another side business coming out of the trips. So we import actually products from Morocco, like beauty products, natural organic stuff from Morocco, and we spread them like in Europe. So we have also our fixed clients in Belgium, but also in Europe. So we somehow import and we export in here. Then that opened also like other side things, such as like the charity mission that we're doing, also to build houses for the children, the orphans in Morocco. So that actually makes us quite busy during the whole year, in between like dancing, trips, cosmetics, charity.
So do you have a team of people, or is it just you? How do you handle these projects?
You need to. Alone by yourself, you simply get stuck in order to get to the...
I'm asking because I never met your team, and it sounds like it's a lot of work.
I mean, they are lovely young people, full of talent and the motivation, and they're just like amazing. I love them. And alone, you cannot do it by yourself. I mean, you always
Yeah.
you can go until a certain level, and then you get stuck. In order to expand and go bigger, you need people to help you, because you're limited in time, in knowledge, in energy, in everything. So you need people to help you with the brains and the muscles.
So how big is your community in Brussels? Because I always thought that you're more of an international guy, but you say you have a community there and you were able to move that
Yeah, I
community.
mean, the advantage we have in Brussels, in Belgium, that is a small country, so we basically can easily reach like all the big cities. So I have a community, the main community in Brussels, but we have also smaller community in Antwerp and in Liège. So we cover, let's say, the center, which is Brussels, and then one city in the Flemish area and one other city in the French-speaking area. So let's say that we could cover actually somehow, let's say, the main spots in Belgium. Yet when we do events or trips or everything starts from Brussels, which is the capital in the center. So that's the city that attracts
As you
most of
guys
it.
can hear, Talal has a lot of business experience. Feel free to ask any questions. Maybe you
Yes,
can learn
anytime.
something. So tell us now that that's your business part, but you're also a unique and passionate dancer, a performer with very, very different shows. And tell us about your salsa career. How has it all started for you?
Well, so my salsa career was like a pure coincidence, actually, because I never heard about salsa before, I never knew salsa before, and it was like I discovered this by chance in Brussels in one of the bars, and I said like, yeah, I want to do this, but not as a profession, because I just wanted to dance. In the beginning, it was mostly to meet people and socialize, and let's say every time I went a bit further, uh, it's like every step I was doing, I never knew it before. So everything I was just following that flow. And whenever there was room for improvement, I just went for it, and I never questioned it or discussed it. And each time, of course, I was hungry for more. And each time I had the possibility to improve or to do something else or something more, I never said no. So I went for it until now, I would say.
So when did you start? Because I remember in 2005, I was in a
Yes.
small event in
That was our
Brussels
first meeting. Yeah.
with Burju, right? That's where we met, probably.
Yeah.
There was this guy from Texas.
And there was
Uh,
Troy.
Troy was there. Yes, he
Troy was
remembers
there.
that. Yeah. And it was hard, 15 years ago. It was not so easy to get information from anywhere. So, who
No.
did you learn from, and how did you come up with your style? And who answered your questions?
Well, at that time, we're quite limited. So we simply were waiting for things to be imported to Belgium to be able to see, to learn. So, or it was because of an event where an international teacher would simply like come out of nowhere because somebody invited him, or because somehow we would get some of those VHS, old VHS coming from the US or from England, coming from some workshops or events, or because the teacher I was dancing with would travel to New York to learn some steps and come back and teach us. In the beginning was mostly Cuban. Then we were each and every time influenced by something else. Then LA, then New York, and then one of the I think most important moments is when I decided to organize myself international events. So that was actually, it's like I wanted somehow to do in Brussels something that was missing. So in 2004 already, I before even like 1 year before we met,
Mm-hmm.
I decided to organize something international by inviting some people that I could know from here and there, famous teachers, I would say, and that's how things start getting actually uh, more. I mean, better in our case to have like some more influence and view on what is happening outside Belgium.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel? Because you're a dancer and then also an organizer and a business person. Do you feel that it takes different character traits or different skills, or the same maybe? Maybe different attitude. How is it similar? How is it different?
I think it's an advantage to be in on both sides because
Mm-hmm.
in terms of let's say when it has when it has to do with negotiation as or a promoter or an artist, you know
Mm-hmm.
things better. So you make the deal easier because you know how it goes. You know what
Mm-hmm.
to take and what not to take. You know how to make it easier for both sides as an artist and also
Mm-hmm.
as so I think is a plus to be on both sides.
Okay.
Different characters, no, because you're still selling. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you sell
Mm-hmm.
yourself or as an artist, or you sell yourself as a promoter. So, I mean, there is a negotiation from both sides.
Mm-hmm.
What I would, for example, love to have is, let's say, time, because if we would have more time, we could do more things. But that's, I think that you, as also an entrepreneur, you could understand this. The lack of time is just
And a
like,
mother of two. That's
That's something as
that's
well.
even more challenging.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. So tell us, you always pick a different direction with your performances, and I think it's very smart. And and I think that being a non-Latino artist is also a special experience in this environment.
Yeah.
Somehow, you sort of need to build your brand, your style in a different way. Um, did you ever think about it, or because yeah, tell us
Actually,
about your choices.
actually the choice, it was never easy actually to make a place in, let's say, on the international
Yeah.
scene, because as you said, not being Latino is one thing, and also let's say I don't have any dancing background, so I had to learn everything from the scratch.
Hmm.
That means I cannot say I don't have a Latino or a dancing background. That means I don't come from a Latin American country, and I don't
Hmm.
speak Spanish, and I don't know, I
Not
never
do
knew
ballet
anything
or
about
jazz
dancing.
or whatever.
Yet, let's say, even although our like Moroccan culture has some, let's say, Afro roots, and somehow we know what is the rhythm and we know how to produce it or reproduce it, but still, I mean, I had to learn things from the scratch. And I would say the choices I had to make, I don't know if they were random choices or they were like based on experience and what I passed through, but the choices I made, let's say, helped me go further. We don't have
Hmm.
to I don't have to forget about one moment where I somehow I wanted to simply stop because of being fed up of all the salsa scene and
Hmm.
everything. And
Hmm.
then I had to find this new breath again by meeting new dance partners. But then things changed radically when I met Edita, because I think that when you meet your right, I think you can search for your like for your whole life with a dance partner, but then
Hmm.
when you find the right one, I think like you have like even much more multiple possibilities to go even into even higher into, let's say, to go over the limits, I would say. So things went
Okay.
much higher
So tell
in
us about you said you had a moment of crisis.
yeah.
What was that all about? Because we all go through it.
To be
Let's
honest,
share.
I still remember it like it was yesterday. It was in Antalya Festival in 2010 or 9, yeah, where I finished my number, okay, and
Hmm.
then I went out and simply I was like, well, after so many years, I had the feeling that I was only doing the same thing and again and again and again and again. And then I said, like, well, I think I still have some more capacities, abilities, and that I could use to do more things or to evolve differently or to go bigger than just what I'm doing right now. And that's why I had feeling that, like, let's say that salsa was somehow holding me back for doing simply my number, doing my classes and nothing else. So I had to find somehow inspiration and motivation in other things. And that's where I went into trips organization, and things came by coincidence because I never studied tourism before. So everything I had to learn, I learned it from the scratch, and also because of what I wanted to go or what I wanted to do afterwards. So then when I was doing well in other fields, I started getting back this taste of going on stage again or going to teach again, because my other side was fulfilled with something else, and I could, okay, now time for passion back again. Then I had more room and more motivation for the passion. So
So
that's
more
basically how.
variety in your life and probably less pressure
Yes,
on any
yes,
of these to really work out. Super.
yeah.
You guys
But
don't know,
sorry to
but
interrupt. Sorry to interrupt you. But also
yeah.
the fact of having of being good in finance. That means if when you have money to be able to inject in your passion in your art, that also helps, because
Mm.
then you can finance everything, because you need time for training, for clothes, for traveling, for all this in the very beginning to start everything over and over again.
And
And
it's nice not to have the pressure that you have to make the money immediately, because
there you
it's
go.
thank you for mentioning this, because money is like a taboo subject. In salsa world, a lot of the times, if someone makes money, people will look at them, oh, she's making money of us, as if it's a bad thing. But that also actually gives an artist the stability and security, right? So you can
Yeah,
be free to create and not feel, oh, why aren't they buying my show? Why aren't they taking my
there you go.
workshops, right?
Yeah.
It's a huge
I
pressure.
I have no shame to say that at some point I had to pay all my expenses to go perform, but I did it with big pleasure, and I didn't feel any. I didn't have any wrong feeling, because it's like, well, I don't need the money. I have my money, and I can just go do my things. And then, like, things were. like better like this. When you do it like for the passion, for the pleasure, people they then ask you, and then you can negotiate at that time. But when you stay in your corner and you simply expect people to call you to buy your arts, and that doesn't work like this. You need to go and find it yourself. You need to go find opportunities.
I remember that transition in your career when you were actually a lot more approachable, and we could just negotiate anything, right? We would just come over, bring a group before your art with Edita just exploded. So it's nice
Yeah,
that you're talking about it, because it's a sort of an investment, right, into
true.
the popularity, and also your understanding of the promoter's perspective, that you always brought people with you. It's an extremely important aspect. I have sometimes artists approaching me, they say, we are great, we do this, and bring us and pay us. And as much as I respect, sometimes I see them developing and they're getting better, and I mean, amazing dancers. I can't dance as well as they do, but I don't know how to sell them. Okay, you're great, yes, but I don't know who will come and pay for this. I don't know. I know how to sell Adolfo. I know how to sell Bersi. Right? Sometimes I know how to sell less popular artists, and it becomes a problem. That sometimes there's a misunderstanding, because then the artist feels disrespected. I work so hard, and you don't want to pay me.
But then you have also a
So,
limited budget as well, and you need
of
somehow
course.
to pay other stuff. I mean,
It doesn't explode. Some people say, I heard a gossip, which was quite funny. Someone was talking about me that I have unlimited money because of the sponsor, probably, which is really fun, because the sponsor is like a tiny percentage. It could just as well not be to
yeah.
maintain the event. And everything is, we manage through the bookings. We know how much we can invest in the artist and so on. So this is
I mean, as a promoter, I mean, I know how hard is the life of a promoter when he does an event and he loses money, or even when he breaks even. So, I mean, promoters are also allowed to make money. I mean, they work for it. When you count all the work, all the hours of work that you do during the whole year, it's like 12 months of work. It's not only like
yeah.
the weekends of El Sol or any other festivals. With all due respect to all promoters, it's a lot more than that, and a lot of hours that people don't see. Sleepless hours, and like incredible schedules to be able to put in events together.
Huge
Yeah,
risk,
and all the
really.
management and all the things, and then yeah. So I totally understand, as I've been
I
in both
guess
sides.
I
So
remember when my father, when I asked him what he was doing, he was an electrician and an engineer, and he was responsible for a part of a coal mine in a state company. And he said, I am responsible. They pay me to be responsible. Sometimes I don't do anything,
yeah,
sometimes I sit at my desk. And I think for me, as a promoter, the risk and responsibility for safety, for delivering the thing that I've been selling throughout the year. I'm taking people's money, and I have to deliver an excellent product.
true.
So the pressure, the responsibility is that's the biggest burden, aside
Yeah,
from the working hours.
and if something goes
Um,
wrong, you're the one to be blamed.
Definitely. And I also see the advantage, and actually the pluses to the community. As a promoter, you give people work. You make artists popular.
Yeah,
You make them
true,
grow, right?
true,
Not
true.
only not only you deliver to your customers, but only also to the
I
artists.
think
So
I think events of that scale can only do benefits on the artistic level, but also for the salsa consumers, because I mean, consumers also need. I mean, let's say salsa passionate, not to call them consumers. They need actually this kind of events to explore other horizons, because you can also visit your events in your area, those small events where you meet the same random people with the same level. But I think when you go with events with that scale, such as Assault, you simply say I mean, you see how the level is growing. You meet other better dancers. You see other teachers, and it simply gives you another vision of where you should be at some point of your life if you want to evolve in salsa. So
I believe, when we cooperate with dance schools and promoters, that they bring their students, because with this event, the students get the motivation to keep deepening their skills, right? They know where they're going, as opposed to sometimes just a local community. So it's a machine. We all
true,
are
true,
part
true,
of
true,
a
true.
machine. John is saying that Talal is the best social dancer.
Thank you.
Yes, you can guys try him out, if I may say so, in November this year, if he's kind enough to dance. And we also have DJ Amos commenting here on a beautiful event in Belgium in the 90s outside with bands and workshops. And that's something, why wouldn't you do that, Talal? You should organize something like that. And
Well,
he
you should.
drove to El Sol from Manchester. Well, it might be the case this year as well, if they with all the limitations. So you need to get your car ready.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, John is really liking you on Instagram. Okay, where do we go from here?
Wherever you go.
Would you say you're more of an introvert or an extrovert?
What?
Introvert or extrovert? Which one are
Definitely
you?
intro. Definitely
Intro.
introvert, I would say. Yeah.
Intro.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
but then you
interesting.
have the other side, which is like the business side, where you should be extrovert. You have
The weekend side.
yeah.
But it's the case with a lot of people that they sort of put a lot of effort into behaving like an extrovert, but they're not really. Like I feel the same. I like people, but I like small groups of people. I don't work so well with huge crowds. I like to go out with one person to dinner, not with 10, because I can't talk to 10 people at the same time. But then salsa sort of forces you. And right now, I'm 38 years old, so I really know myself. But when I was younger, I was trying to be more extroverted, and it was huge stress for me. I was acting like not myself. There's this Latino pressure on being very outgoing.
Yeah. But you can. I mean, if you want to do, if you do things in a good way, you cannot stay introvert in the salsa community. I mean, you have to.
Does that cost you a lot of effort?
No, I think it's something that I enjoy actually, especially when you see actually the feedback from the people. So then it becomes something natural, You have then you have the person that is with this salsa crowd and during trips or events or classes, and you have the person like who's at home, like different, doing his stuff and everything, and that's something I spend a lot of time by myself. By the way, just for you to know.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you do when you're not in an event? Tell us. What's your...
Okay, so if I'm not doing all the business like the office business, all the paperwork, the accounting, the promotion, everything, or I read, or I chill out and watch some documentaries or movies, or I simply meet, as you said, one person for coffee, and I have like really limited number of friends that I see maybe like 4 or 5 times a year. And I meet them like in that special day where it's really like free, because with all the classes, weekends, and everything, there is no free time. But when we have that time, we schedule in advance and we meet for that coffee, and I totally enjoy it. So that's how it goes.
Talal is a very responsible and very reliable person. Like when you meet him, when you want to meet him at 7, he's going to be there 3 to 7. Because that's it's beautiful. My family is like this, I don't meet a lot of people like this.
I think that's an advice you can give to anyone who want to start any business. One of the first keys to success is to be punctual, is to be on time, is to show up, is to be there. That's all.
It's a respect thing. I always feel very respected, that I'm important, that I don't need to remind you. So it's great. Richie is saying we're looking great. Thank you, Richie. I had to spend 15 minutes putting my face on for this occasion. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I never asked myself this question, because what I see right now is the right moment, the present. And the present is something that I own right now, and I need to do it good. And I know if I do it good, it can lead me somewhere else better. So I don't project anything. I just know that I have faith in the future that it's going to be good if I work on my present quite well. That's it.
You must have any dreams. I mean, maybe you just don't want to share them.
No, I think at this point, yeah, maybe. But as I said, for now, I'm simply focused on this moment, the present.
Okay, so what is your dream project?
My what?
Dream project.
To be honest, is to make, let's say, Brussels as an important salsa spot where they can come and enjoy salsa events and classes, like from different parts of Belgium or even abroad, like it used to be before.
Yeah, like Milano.
Not really, because for this we
Yeah.
need to attract a lot of people to move to Brussels. But as we don't have the same charisma as Italy in terms of weather and food and
Food.
language, so we cannot expect that much. But I still remember those days when I used to organize my events between 2004 and 11 during 7 years. We used to attract a lot of people coming from abroad to our events, and I want to get this time back as it used to be.
Hmm.
Because I had this break when I moved to trips organization and other stuff and everything. So that somehow I said like I put the organization on the side. I had to make some free time for it. But now that this trips organization is like going by itself, I would say I need to get this
Hmm.
events and let's say attracting people to Brussels back again.
So, were you born in Brussels, or how did
Oh,
you move? No.
I was born
No.
in Morocco.
Okay.
Lived until my almost 19 years old, and then I moved to Belgium for studies.
Okay. Hmm.
Not even for dancing. So that was
Hmm.
studies.
Okay. It seems like you like the country. You life there.
I do. I do. It's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Brussels has a
Yeah.
lot of things to show. Yeah, it's
It's a
nice.
beautiful city. I remember.
Yes.
I don't remember the people much though.
Yes. Yes.
I
It
felt
is.
like everybody was just there temporarily. Like,
Yes. Yes. It's why it's cosmopolitan. You have a
yeah.
lot of nationalities from everywhere. You have like different type of cuisines, and the city itself is really nice. A lot of heritage and historical heritage. You can visit a lot
Mhm.
of different old parts of the city, which is really nice. And it's quite, for me, I think it's not a city that will attract you from the very first time, like I don't know, Prague or Vienna or these kind of cities.
Mhm.
But you need
Mhm.
to take time to enjoy it little by little and to explore its neighborhoods one by not
Okay.
by one.
Okay. Yeah, sounds exciting. I want to go back to traveling. I want my
Who
kids to
doesn't?
grow up and just be independent. Yeah, I was almost there, but now I have the round two, so it's gonna take a couple of years. Anyway, um, if you didn't dance, what would you do in life?
I think I would just follow what the elders says. That means do the job they were expecting me to do. Because when I moved to Belgium, I was doing computer science. Because before I was doing mathematics and physics, and I had to follow this scientific path. And to be now, let's say, an engineer or maybe a computer programmer or something. But then I had to do this difficult to take this difficult choice of saying, okay, this or that, passion or this secure path as they call it.
Mm.
And then I took that risk. I said, okay, it's a risk worth taking. And here I am.
For Livy saying that only Belgians say that Brussels is nice. Yeah. I think we all, as in salsa, we face that moment when we have to choose our career. I have a master's degrees in linguistics. I don't know. I mean, I always liked languages and international things, but I was a dancer from my early childhood, and I was so depressed just thinking that okay, I'm gonna finish these studies. I'm gonna go do some free work at some company, and then I'm gonna stay in that company. And I'm gonna wear a suit and then I'm just gonna dance after hours. I didn't want this life, I said
Boring,
it
right?
can't be, it can't be. So I actually set up my school with Marek when I was
Yeah.
in my third year at the university, and just never had to even think about doing anything else.
Well, yeah, because
And then
they
over
yeah.
a weekend, I made the same money that I would make if I was doing some assistance work in a company. So I was like, I'm never going to any office. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I think that a lot of also dancers and artists are afraid of from the fact that they keep telling you that okay, art doesn't pay, art doesn't make money. But if you, I mean, I think if you're persistent and you know how to sell it, there is a way of making money out of it.
You need a lot of skills though, because just art, just being like, if you are a fantastic ballerina, right? And if you don't have a job in the States theater, and then you really have to go and look for it somewhere else. Now it depends, I think, how many other skills. If you can learn to sell, if you can learn to market yourself, if you can work on your brand, if you can learn organization, all that is necessary.
True, true, true. You need
Yeah,
to have
if you want to
different
be
things in
independent.
parallel.
Otherwise, you're always dependent on a contract. And I think that's what people mean when they say
Yeah.
art doesn't pay, that you're dependent and you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I think we are. I think in an era where you need to have other skills to persist. That means you need at least, for example, languages, some management, at least something to be able to go further. I would say. Otherwise, you stay stuck somewhere. Okay.
Yeah. We got a question from the audience. Before we answer this, let me just tell you guys that party passes are available now for 79 euros. You can go and get them. A lot of you were asking. So party passes and night party passes, because you can have a party all day and night, and you can only come for the night. So check it out on our website, salsafestival.pl. And now let's answer Agnieszka's question. Talal, I'm very curious, how do you make it all work with Edita living in a different country? How do you organize your trainings in terms of logistics? How often do you meet to train? How do you work on any choreography live or connect online? Tell us.
I think we got this question for 1,000 times already, and I'm gonna be glad to answer. I think when you work with the pro dancer like Edita, such a skilled person, I would say all you need to do in the beginning is to have this first connection. So in the beginning, it was more about like building somehow some kind of understanding, connection together, and to know each other. How do we work, and how to somehow
Edita
meet
is watching
somehow.
us. She's listening.
What?
Edita is watching us on Instagram. Let's see
You need to watch my
you
work
have
now, right?
if you have the same version of the events.
And I think once this is established, then things go easier. We don't meet that much. I think we're very lazy dancers, which means we don't practice that much during the year. But yet when we meet, actually, we go really hard. Edita is a very difficult person at work because she's the one, let's say, pulling up. Because sometimes like, let's do it later. Okay, no, let's do it now. So somehow it helps. And but yeah, I think it needs only this first good connection with your partner, and then things come, let's say, naturally. Of course, we have our moments with full inspiration and moments where we're simply stuck somewhere, but we don't get discouraged because we know if it doesn't work today, it's gonna work the next weekend or the next month, and we simply keep on trying and trying. And then even when we think that we finished with a performance or a show or a routine, I think it still needs to be polished. That means even during the performance, we were like starting our year with this performance, we still somehow find a way to maybe clean it up, make it different, change it, yeah. So as I said, it just needs this first good connection in the beginning, and then the rest comes naturally.
Guys, we're gonna have Edita live in 2 weeks, and then we're gonna ask her the same question. Let's see if the
Make
story
sure you say the same thing,
okay? Another question. Do you still plan to organize events in Brussels next year? Or depending on how the situation evolves?
It's all depend on the situation. That means we have different ideas for different events, and we just need this green light from the government, and then back on track.
Just like we're doing in Poland this year.
Yeah.
Talal, what motivates you to keep going with so much enthusiasm?
And why not? It's like, why not? I would say, or you go for what you like with full speed, or you simply stay there and that's it. Also when you see that the motivation and what you do somehow pays off, and I'm not talking about money, it's mostly about what you create in terms of community and crowd. And when you see people somehow leaving your class or leaving your events or your gathering with such a positive energy, so you say, okay, I'm doing something that somehow pleases people and it pleases me back. So that gives you motivation for giving more and more and keep going again and again. And I think you, Anya, should feel the same thing when you're done, for example, with the El Sol. Although you can be dead tired after so many sleepless hours and everything, when you see the feedback of the people like the week after with all the memories and all the selfies and all the things, that simply pushes you to go back again and say, okay, what can I do better, more, and go what else I can offer these people. So the motivation actually doesn't come from motivation doesn't come from the money. Also, the money we do, I still insist, we do it for the money because we work and we live from it. But many people also work for money, but they don't have the same satisfaction. The satisfaction we have actually comes from the recognition of the people. When you see them actually how happy after each events or gathering or class that you're giving them. And that's the motivation.
Definitely. After the event, I'm another 10 days, I need to wind down because I'm so hyped from the experience and all the feedback that it's very hard to stop and actually rest. So yeah, it is very addictive.
Because also people need to be aware that not everything we organize is successful and profitable. Sometimes we break even, sometimes we lose money, but we still keep going, because if it has to do only with the profit, so I don't think we would last that long. And I mean, I still have some friends who are like or promoters. Every year, or they break even, or they lose money, but they're still there, and they do it for the pleasure, for the passion. And then big up to them.
Yeah. We got Willie saying, loving your energy, Talal.
Thank you, Willie.
So, from what you're saying, Talal, it seems like you have a very resilient character, right? And someone who really just has an energy to keep going. Has your childhood somehow shaped you in this way? Can you relate on your, I don't know, family experience?
Well, then I have to dig deeper right now. Then, well, maybe I would say like my father actually like really we come from a very like I would say poor to middle class family in Morocco.
He is
And
Moroccan, not Saudi. Moroccan. So
no, Moroccan. And I think I saw also my father, let's say, climbing and going actually his work and going from a position to a better position, which was maybe a model. I don't think I even can relate to that, but that's the first model I could see is my father, like somehow climbing stairs and going higher. But I can tell. I think I cannot tell. I don't have any event in my mind right now that tells me what if there is something related to my childhood or something. No,
Okay.
I think I still need to dig deeper. I mean, I never asked myself this question. I'm gonna put it down here,
You see, when I
child.
ask women, they usually have already answered.
Well, I need to ask this question for any other future interview.
Okay.
Childhood, right?
I'll make sure I'll bring you on next year to see what you have come up with. What did you have to sacrifice to be where you are today?
The opinion of my community. And the fact that maybe like coming from a culture in a community like mine, you can be, for example, exposed to judgment.
You mean the
And
Moroccan community?
Moroccan, Arab, Muslim community, everything. So you can be exposed to judgments, and we come from. I mean, I and my people, I would say, we come from quite a strong culture, like where everybody has to put his nose in it, and he needs to like to judge and to approve and then once you leave this behind, and I'm gonna say this to everyone: when you leave all the boundaries behind your back, cultural, mental, everything, then you're free, and you simply have one way to go. So you don't look back. And once you get rid of this, things become much easier, much lighter.
So how are you connected to your Moroccan community? Like, are you traditionally religious, or are you? I don't know if this is okay to ask, but I think a lot of people would be curious. Sorry if I just crossed the
Well,
line.
the thing is, if we if we open that topic, we're gonna go for like 2-3 more
No, but
hours.
this is fascinating because it's something that you bring into the picture. That's
Let
your
me tell you
culture.
one thing. When you travel as much as you can, okay, and then you realize that somehow the world is made of so different cultures and people from different background, religion, culture, and everything, it would be really silly and even stupid to stay just like stuck with your own. And I would say when you embrace everything and take it as a human heritage, then you live fine. You just don't need to get stuck with only what you've been taught and with your own background and education and religion and everything. So you need to think wider, to think outside the box, as they say, and then things get much easier for you. Because I sometimes really like boundaries and some kind of like limitation in what they put in our brains since we're kids until now can somehow, let's say, damage your career, your future, your relation with the people and everything. And I can even like relate to myself since I arrived to Belgium until now. There were phases starting from how I met Europe, how I start traveling, how I met salsa, how I start traveling the world, not only with salsa, but also for my curiosity. And all those phases somehow makes you somehow think differently. So I
Opens your
encourage
mind.
every person to simply open up and see things how they go outside.
Yeah, I guess that works for any community, hardcore
Yeah.
Catholic community of the province of Poland, or anywhere. Someone is
And
asking.
and
Good.
honestly, just like before we answer this question, when you go to an event as big as El Sol or even smaller events, Tell me if you have statistics, you, Anya, of how many countries visit your events. Tell me.
I do. I do. I
80,
can check
90,
right now.
100?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Good. So when they're together, they don't see anything else. Like you know what I'm saying right now can be so, let's say, lame or cheesy, but
Hmm.
somehow you got like all people coming from different background, communities, religions, cultures, still meeting in the same venue and
Yeah.
dancing and enjoying the party without seeing anything except that I have a dancer in front of me. I can
Yeah,
enjoy
that's
myself.
beautiful. And no politics, no divisions, no nationalities, nothing matters.
That's it.
Yeah. And
That's it.
it's beautiful, especially in the light of, recent political developments all over the world, that's something that
Yeah,
just erases it. It's beautiful. Someone is asking us, I'm not, if not already asked, Talal and Anya, what was the toughest moment you had in your dance career? And the funniest moment? You go first, Talal.
well, the toughest moment, as I said, is when I felt like I was stuck. As I said, my story in Antalya, where I said, like, yeah, I felt that I don't evolve that much anymore, and I wanted somehow to find new horizons, to find somehow motivation somewhere else. And that's why during 1 year, I simply like stopped most of my activities. I kept only some class to be able to survive, and only by finding the same motivation in other fields, I could come back to the salsa passion. Funniest moments? I think there are many. I think when you are part of the salsa community and you travel and you have a lot of crazy friends all over the world in salsa community. I mean, the funny moments are countless. I think we have a lot of stories. I cannot just like define one of them. There are many.
Mine was, I had a couple because first, when I decided to have my daughter over 11 years ago, I remember I was already running teams, traveling internationally, and I get bored very fast. So when I did it for a year, two, three, four, at some point there came a first serious problem. My team was falling apart. Some people didn't want to do it anymore. And then I had this sort of, okay, so I'm putting all this energy into a group of people who are dancing salsa right now, but next year they're going to go climbing or they're going to go do yoga. And where does this end? I lost my motivation. I didn't see the point in it anymore. I
Mhm.
thought I was burning my energy so much, and it was like a dead end. And that's when I thought, okay, I want to do something real. I want to have a baby. And then when boom, and then when that happens, that took me out for a while and gave me a completely new perspective and new challenges. So I had to change my life completely. And then another crisis came when, after 11 years, 12 years, I separated from my business partner, from Marek, with Salsa Libre, and we had a very serious financial situation. Debts that belonged to both of us privately, not just to our company. And it was actually a beautiful business divorce, because we handled it in friendship and in respect. And then 5 years ago, I took the events, all the festivals, the El Sol Salsa Festival, Zouk Festival, Spring Break, and I developed them into a business that was running throughout the year, that I was just running by myself, and Marek took the school. And that gave me new energy, new responsibility. So
I still remember, by
yeah,
the way,
yeah.
the event in Solets. I miss this place in Solets.
Yeah, that was a beautiful school. That was like a mecca for the dancers. We made history there. The community that comes to my socials, I organize Salsa Mania monthly socials right now, is still a community that was born in those times. That place was magical. It was magical and was too expensive, and it put us into debt after many
Yeah,
years. So good and bad memories.
yeah.
Yeah.
True, true. But we have a lot of good memories from Solets. That's where things started actually.
Yeah, yeah. It was the first Salsa Libre studio in Powiśle that we abandoned in 2014. So I'm sure a lot of international people still remember it. We used to run Sunday after party after the event there.
Yeah,
Remember,
yeah,
there was
yeah.
like a train on the floor, animations, crazy stuff. I even
Crazy,
remember
crazy.
Eddie Torres performing there.
Yeah. I also remember some of our first training with Edita also in there in Solets.
Yeah.
Some of our first perform. I think our very first performance with Edita was there.
Hmm.
The very first one with Edita was in Solets.
That's possible. Probably some
Yeah,
spring
yeah.
break or
No, I still
something,
remember it
some
was like there. Yeah.
testing night. Do you prefer social dancing or performing?
I think both give a different pleasure. Yet, of course, the pleasure of social dancing is more like, let's say, enjoyable and relaxing, and then the pleasure of performance is, this moment of fear you have before stepping on stage in the very first seconds before you get to
how do
stage.
you handle that?
I think it will never pass.
Do you
There's
like
nothing to
it
handle.
or not?
I think
I
it's
hate it. I hate it.
I know, but I think it comes from the things that, okay, here are people in front of you and they're expecting you to do something good. What if you don't do it good? And that question is there. So you need to get through it until you hear the first impressions, and then you're done. Okay. Well, sometimes it's difficult with other crowds, but like generally speaking, I would say, this very first seconds in the beginning is like so horrible, but then you only pass through it.
It's an interesting subject because I don't perform right now or anymore, maybe never again. And when I used to perform, I also remember, for me the stress was horrible. I hated it. But when I had the chance to dance longer, when I was part of a spectacle, or if it was another dance form, or if I was dancing at the same stage every night, Johnny
Yeah,
Vasquez,
I
hi
see.
Johnny, we have VIPs here.
Yeah, never passed ever been show. You've done 100
Then,
times.
then it
That's
was
true.
nicer because you need that 1 minute or 30 seconds or 10 seconds to sort of feel yourself on stage. And then if you had a performance or half an hour, then you would be relaxed for the rest half an hour. And when you only have 3 minutes, like 1 minute you're stressed, and then 2 minutes and it's over. I'm like, it's such a waste of all the stress.
And the problem actually, if you let's say if you during the performance you screw one movement, probably you will be the only one feeling it. But on 3 minutes, you have the feeling that you screwed the whole show, and that everybody saw it. Even if you receive, let's say, compliments after the show, you're never satisfied. So yeah.
But you still do it. You still go out there and do it.
Yeah. For the sake, yeah.
Yeah. So it must be, the pros and cons must be, in the right proportion.
I just took a screenshot from Johnny Vasquez's comment right now.
I think this is someone from my team, Warsaw Salsa Festival. It's not me. You got to tell us some Polish words, I guess.
Dzień dobry, kochanie, jak się masz?
Beautiful. That must have been Maria, my bet is. What was your first international congress, your first international performance or class?
I can say my very first international participation, and you'll be surprised. It was in Warsaw, in Egorola Dance Studio. Damn it! Now I remember.
Oh wow! What was that?
It was in 2006, January 2006, with Farid Fershash and Mambo Mike from Holland. That was my very first international participation.
Wasn't that Kasia who brought you over? Who was that?
It was a girl called Anna. Like, I'm talking about like 14 years ago. That was my very first international something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, then you're very connected.
We only gave workshops, and then I don't have. Now I remember, and I would say like we came up with our, like, let's say, salsa skills and everything. But when we saw the dancers in Igorora, we're like, woo. It was challenging. But we were really welcomed, and we spent really good time. So the Polish crowd was very welcome, and it was good.
So when you teach, what do you think of when you're teaching your international classes? Do you think more to be original or to be there for the people? What do you have in mind?
It's always different. That means we rarely prepare the classes. That means we have, let's say, our range of movements and what we want to teach. But then somehow when we stand in front of the crowd, when we start teaching, we see what people are receptive to, what they need to. And we somehow, based on what they need in their dancing, we somehow try to fill in some gaps. We give them some movement that they need, but we still somehow cover this with some fun.
So you watch them first. You watch them first.
No, we don't watch them first. No? We watch them through the class.
Okay.
And through the class, we realize actually what they need. We cover this with some, let's say, cool movement that they need, and some, let's say, some fun and everything, because we still believe that the student is there to learn, but also to have fun. So if we can provide both, we won.
Johnny, thank you for chipping in. I haven't seen you forever, man. Forever.
Now he's gonna comment everything.
Yes, it's great having you.
He's gonna comment everything.
Nice. We got Johnny Vasquez, the Johnny Vasquez in the house. Amazing. Do you have any rituals before going on stage or teaching?
Not really, not really.
No.
No, not necessarily.
And when you design your costume, your show, your music, what do you have in mind?
Everything comes by coincidence because actually we try to have something which can be, let's say, or different or attractive to people. And about the design of the costume, so Edita and I, we proceed with some, let's say, brainstorming, seeing a lot of examples here and there, trying to take inspiration from here and there, and try to see if what can fit with the concept of the show itself. Then we proceed by a lot of like changes, countless moments of changes, this and that and this and that and everything, and then the moment of the realization. So that takes also time. Then when the costume is done, let's see if we can change this and that and everything. So it's a whole process, like the choreography, exactly like the choreography. Same energy.
I've always I really stopped to say this, guys, because the Talal and Edita's shows are very creative and very different, and you don't produce them like 10 a year, right? You have one number, maybe two, but there's usually the music is a very specific choice and everything gels together. So I'm really stressing this because it's a very creative and strategic mind there that I'm saying, not just that you just put anything on. You just, okay, let's do red, let's do yellow, let's do green, let's do blue, and let's just keep doing more numbers. So this is, for me, it's very artistic. Like I like an artistic perspective.
Thank you.
Edita is saying that you're Polish on the inside.
Who knows? Who knows?
Johnny, lots of love.
Johnny's
Thank
back. Couldn't we just open another window for Johnny here on the side so we can participate in the conversation?
I mean, no, Johnny's giving us a lot of, visibility. Johnny, let's keep talking. How have you been? I saw you have 2 kids, right? So you're still in Italy? Let's just keep talking. I have notes. Oh.
I still have this moment with when I met Johnny Vzquez in 2005, back in the days, like in one of the congress in Brussels. And as a salsa beginner, I had this very modest show that I had to produce on stage because I was local, so I didn't have to travel to that congress. And I was so worried about people who are sitting in the front. And I went to John and told him, like, so what do you think about my show? And I would always remember, although I have the recording of that show, I know how much it sucked back in the days. But the only thing you get from someone like John is like, listen, it was really great, keep doing what you're doing, and I find it fantastic. When you get in touch with people like that, I find it amazing. So they simply encourage you to go further and further. So Johnny, probably you don't remember this, but yeah, it happened 15 years ago. But I still remember this moment after stage. He told me, like, it was fantastic. I felt so good. I felt so I felt like a star. And so he told me, like, it was really good. I mean, keep doing it. So gave me such an energy that night. You have no idea.
Wow, that's amazing. It's so important at the beginning not to discourage someone. Actually, my husband fell in love with salsa through Johnny. He went to your bachaturo class, Johnny, and just your energy, your flavor, and the music and the songs that you make and you sing. It was wow, and all the macho flavor. Yeah. So yeah, lots of good work there. Inspiration.
Tell me about your notes.
Yeah, I'm looking at my notes. What makes you happy aside from dancing?
Aside from dancing, I think when I wake up every morning and I feel that I can simply feel, let's say, free and healthy and being able simply to do whatever I want whenever I want to, I think that's what makes me happy. I'm not asking for much, but
this freedom?
Freedom in health. Freedom in health. That counts. And
for me, freedom is the most important. So
and realizing this, well, we're never 100% free because somehow we're still chained with this and that. But yet, we don't live in an environment with difficulties and everything. So we still have the freedom of living, speech, and so many things and everything. But and also health. I mean, when you feel healthy, that's also like a gift that you need to realize every day. So yeah, if we have these two things, I mean, in my case, I'm fine.
What would you say today to yourself at the age of 19 as an advice for life?
Don't worry, everything is gonna be all right.
Mm-hmm. Let life happen.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Any advice to the new coming talent? To what should they focus on?
Don't question what you do. Just do it like 100%. And be sharp, be professional, have a vision, just do it. Don't question it, don't look aside. You want to reach something, go for it, and just don't stop yourself. That's all. In the beginning it's hard, after that it's gonna be a little bit messy, but at the end you're gonna prosper, you're gonna enjoy it.
It's hard these days, because when we started like 20, 15 years ago, there was a lot less. And I think there was a lot more space to be creative and to be different. Everybody was different. People in France dance differently than people in Holland, and then the people in Germany. And then in Poland, we had our own fusion version. And I felt, for instance, that I was a lot more courageous in experimenting. And it was always very stressful because I didn't know if that experiment was okay. But when I look at today's community, I feel it's so structured. There are so many people saying you do exactly like I say and you'll be good, that people are afraid to experiment. And it's hard to say, go and do your own thing, whereas around you see, okay, you have to do it this way.
Well, I think you still need to pass by this period of doing it like the others.
Repetition. Mm-hmm.
Doing it like the others, like to master all the skills and everything, before somehow feeling very comfortable and have this confidence to go artistically your way,
Mm-hmm.
and to do things your way. So first you need to prove yourself, okay, I can do it this way and this way, this squarish way.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that you can just like go your way.
So both is necessary. It's
Yeah,
necessary
I think both are necessary. I mean,
to learn the standard things and then to experiment
yeah,
from there.
yes,
Like, I mean, you could experiment without the technique, but then you're going to have to go back to the technique anyway.
definitely.
And then on the other hand, when you're very technical, then it's hard to
Exactly.
become different.
Yeah.
We have another question. Have you ever thought to change your profession? I know that many artists today think about it in these difficult COVID-19 times.
Well, no, because I think it's the COVID period is just. I don't think it's going to be permanent. So somehow it's going to pass. I think humans are made to find solutions. If you're not on a bigger scale to find the cure for the COVID-19 and simply get rid of it into past and to get back to our normal lives, then people are somehow like us. We can somehow find alternative and find solution still within your area of action, which is dancing, but you still can do it. I mean,
Like
maybe
what?
as I said, I
Be
mean,
specific.
when actually, I mean, dancing is not only about practicing, but also about the community. So if we can keep this community engaged in other activities, we're still doing something. Like, we're still somehow being there. Maybe waiting for the green light to go back to our. But yeah, but changing my profession right now, I don't think so.
Were you doing any online classes during the hardcore
I did it
lockdown?
once and I didn't like it. I did it once, and honestly, when you don't have the same that energy from the people behind you,
Yeah.
when you don't smell their sweat, I mean, it's not the
Yeah, a
same.
lot of people say that. It's like it's a lonely experience in front of a camera.
Yeah, I did it once, and I stopped. I said, like, no, not for me.
For me, my way of maintaining relationship with the community was doing the interviews with artists. I felt
Yeah.
more connected through being disconnected, and I also went back to teaching, which I didn't do for the last 2 years.
Well,
So
I mean, luckily we had these classes that we did with Edita in September before COVID, and they were like classes like for couples. So they were kept on the side, and COVID-19 released sometimes so that we could work on them and polish them and put them online. But those are classes from before COVID. We have classes online, but they were more for people who wants, let's say, to follow our style and to get some like partner work and stuff and details from here and there. But yeah, the smell of the progress. But yeah, I mean, I think it was a moment for artists or dancers to be able to keep going with the business somehow, which is normal. I totally understand. Also for salsa passionate and consumers to be able still to do something at home and to not forget about their skills and to learn some more, which is great. It's not something that I judge. It's something I encourage for both artists and consumers. It's just a personal choice. I mean, like I need to feel that energy, like from the crowd.
Oh, it's a good thing you weren't forced to it as well, right? So
No,
that's the freedom here.
exactly.
What's your most inspirational or favorite place on earth?
Your notes. Oh, wait a minute. I think when I go to the deserts in the middle of the dunes, I think it's this moment of emptiness is very inspiring. Emptiness, silence, peace. I think it's one of the trips that even if nobody subscribes, I will still go by myself. It's my moment. I mean, or I go alone, or I go with people, but it's still my moment. Well, luckily, I always went with people, but it's. I think it's a moment I recommend to everyone.
Yeah, the Moroccan soul calling to the
Yeah,
space.
yeah, but it's mostly this emptiness. It's this emptiness in front of that beautiful landscape. It's just like priceless.
Before we wrap up, how do you feel about coming to El Sol this year under these heavy circumstances? Do you have your doubts? Are you excited? What can you?
Excitement. This
Yeah, people.
excitement. No, honestly, yeah, I think you know what's gonna be. It's gonna be like, I'll tell you exactly how it sounds like, how it feels like.
Yeah.
I remember in 2002, 3, 4, we used to have congresses, salsa congresses, but there were
Yeah.
only 4 during the year. That means you had to wait long, very long to
Everybody
get
was
to the
waiting.
congress.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be like my congress after a long time of waiting. So I'll let you imagine how eager I am to hit the dance floor.
I guess that's true for these courageous people that have decided to come over and already bought their passes.
The
What would you
survivor.
say? Yeah, the survivors, the risk takers. What would you say to those that are feeling uncertain? Because it is a risk, and I'm also saying honestly, I cannot make sure that there is no virus. I mean, I suggest people get tested. I suggest they wear a mask. I will provide all the disinfection and an appropriate distance, but I really don't have influence over that. So it's everybody's individual responsibility in the end. Will you come? You're not afraid, or would you rather stay home? Because no one is forced. Because I know that people are divided through these perspectives. Some are feeling a little bit more anxious, some are more ignorant of all this. What would you
We can
say?
we can divide people into 2 groups, I would say. Those who feel, and you cannot blame any of them, okay? Those who want, because that's how we're made differently. We think
Of
differently.
course.
Nobody can be
I mean, different life circumstances, different jobs, all that. Yeah.
those who feel unsecure and unsafe, then simply wants to take things in a very secure way. Say, okay, I need to wait until I realize that there is no virus anymore, and then I
Yeah.
can live my life again. Also, because maybe I am living with people who are old and they are really like vulnerable and they don't want to bring anything from outside to them, which I totally understand. But then you have those people who I give an example with one student I had recently who was really waiting for a long time before coming to the class. When he came back, he spent that 1 hour, and you can see his face. It was like full of joy
Life.
and light.
Life.
Exactly. And that's what some other people are waiting for. They need that therapy. They need that cure because they've been somehow waiting for such a long time to be able to dance and to express that joy again. And those as well, you cannot forbid them that. You need to give them what they want. So if they want to dance, give them dance. But then it's at their responsibility. People, I think they are adults enough. They are responsible enough. They need to take their measures of security, and to be responsible. If they feel any risk, then yeah, of course, stay home. If you feel like you're sick or being, I don't know, having a fever or any symptoms, stay home. But then for the others, you cannot take that away from them. If they want to come and enjoy, you simply let them come and enjoy.
So you're not scared yourself
I
personally?
think if I put myself in a category of being scared or afraid, I think I wouldn't be here where I am right now. I mean, I think you can also say this about yourself. I mean,
Of course, I'm already running socials, and
exactly.
and
Take
actually they give me a lot of life. Being stuck with 2 kids at home makes me very depressed. So I feel more alive just being able to dance, even if it's just 100 of the Warsaw people.
Yeah, I know that maybe some people will be like, we'll be somehow, let's say, against what I'm gonna say. You can say, okay, Talal, maybe you're irresponsible. You better stay home because you're going to a big event and you might somehow catch something and bring it back to Belt and spread and contribute in the spreading of some virus. And I would say just like, okay, you have like much more possibilities of picking that virus even when you go out from home to go to the shop or to go to the cafe, no matter how cautious you can be. So it's a way of thinking, it's a way of seeing it. So the
I
risk is
also
always there.
believe
You do or you
that
don't do, the risk is there.
I also believe that this control that we're talking about is an illusion. We cannot control this. This is happening.
Mm.
The virus is here, and we're going to live with it. And some people can afford to isolate themselves. Some cannot. So we're doing it, guys. Party passes are available from today. You can now go and get your night party pass or day and night party pass. And we have one more question. What are 5 reasons, in your opinion, bachata is better than salsa? There you go. There you go.
I cannot answer this because bachata is a beautiful dance, but it's just like not something I can
Let's treat
enjoy
it as
or
an inspiration.
yeah,
Tell us
yeah.
what you think.
No. I love this man. I don't know how I can answer Piotr. I don't know what. Call me. Call me. We're gonna talk about it. I feel so stuck.
So tell us why salsa is better than bachata. Tell us
I mean, there is
your.
nothing better. I mean, it's just like a way of being inspired by one or the other dance. And then why kizomba is better than bachata, or why bachata is better than zouk, or why zouk is better than
No, for
mambo.
you, what is your experience? Why
For
is your
me,
heart? Yeah.
honestly, I would say I think the energy, the joy, the music, that's what gives me the energy coming from those. I don't. It's not something I can find in bachata. I mean the music, the music
Very
in salsa, that's somehow
rich in all the instruments.
yeah, trigger me. Okay, I can maybe like I think in the whole weekend I might dance one bachata sometimes with Edita for fun. Okay, and she would make a lot of fun about me because she knows that I'm not a bachata dancer, but we do it for fun and I still enjoy it. But then just like to go for a bachata night or just to go to the bachata room to dance, that's I don't think I would. I do it.
So it's the music for you.
Yeah, the music, and all this interaction between the dancers
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
South Side.
I must say I like every dance. When a guy is a good leader, then every dance is really great.
Yeah,
But also musically, I think salsa. When you get into the Latin community, salsa at first is hard because it's got so many instruments and it's so irregular to an European ear that sometimes it discourages people. Bachata is so much easier; like they can relate to it. It's like a little bit like a disco music, with a Latin flavor. But right now at Salsa Libre, Marek is seeing an influx of people to salsa. So people who dance bachata, they're coming to salsa now, looking for something more. So there is also this movement.
there is this funny story sometimes that you dance with someone in a festival, okay, with a girl,
Yeah.
and you dance a very good salsa with her, and it's like amazing. And then once the dance is finished, she asks you, "Do you dance bachata?" And you're like the question you don't expect. It's like, no, I belong to this room here. No bachata, no kizomba here. That's my room. And I say, okay, thank
Mario's here. Mario is coming to ESO Salsa Festival Social Edition as well. And he'll be teaching 3 classes, right, Mario?
you. Hello, Mario.
Yeah, last time I had Mario here on my in my little office.
We're so privileged having the visit of Johnny Vasquez and Mario here, and among other
Yeah.
exceptional guests as well.
So yeah, I think I have exploited my list of questions. So do you guys have anything else? We're going
Mario,
for
you're
it.
late.
We're doing a Soul Salsa Festival. Party passes are available. VIP passes are available. Talal, Mario, and Edita are going to be there. And we're all going to have fun just like in the old days. This is, I swear to God, this is going to be the event that we will most remember for the next 5 years. Yeah, just because there was nothing else. And it is going to be in the big place at the Sangir Hotel with the wooden floor. So you guys can go and book your room directly through the hotel this year. The rooms are a lot cheaper due to these painful circumstances. So make sure you go and get yours. I think they have a decent refund policy, so you'll be good. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Now, if you're worried about your money, if I have to cancel the event because of red zone or whatever, then we will give you back 95% of the amount you paid, no questions asked. 95 because 5 is the manipulation cost of our finance provider, just commissions there and back. So we're trying to minimize your risk. Okay, and if you are quarantined, if your country is on lockdown, then you also get your money back if you just provide us a document that's saying that. And yes, we're trying to keep our enthusiasms up. It's one more month of this uncertainty, and we're putting all our effort. And we got the support of Talal and Mario, so it's going to be interesting. Would you like to add anything, Talal?
No, we're fine. I think it was a very good interview. I think I've been smiling all along the interview. I really had a lot of fun. Thank you for that, Anya.
It's been very informative. You can guys always go back to this.
Yeah.
A lot of interesting thoughts. Okay, well then let's wrap it up.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
You too.
Everybody,
Bye.
Talal, you
Bye,
too.
everybody. Ciao.
Bye-bye. Let me end this here.